Hello everyone, my name is Nathan. Welcome to Maple Street. First and foremost, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. The reason I am releasing this video on Christmas Day is because it's actually Rod Serling's birthday, and it's especially significant today, December 25th, 2024, because it would have been Rod Serling's 100th birthday. Rod Serling was best known for his work with The Twilight Zone, but I thought today I would acknowledge the star, the legend himself, by focusing on the movies that he wrote, the screenplays, the adaptations, whatever it might be. I want to rank every movie that he wrote. All right, maybe not every movie. There's a bit of a blurred line on what actually counts as part of his filmography. According to the Rod Serling official website, he was involved in 13 movies. That includes a few TV movies and movies that he's credited for because it was based on a story by him. So I won't be including Incident in an Alley, I think is what it's called. I'll also be excluding TV movies, except for Carol for Another Christmas. You will see that on the list. I've seen that movie a time or two, and I want to talk about it. Sue me. And then finally, there's a movie from 1981 called The Salamander. It credits him as a writer. However, this came out 6 years after he passed away. And I'm not saying that's a reason to discredit him, but it does have me questioning a little bit how involved he actually was on that project. So I won't be including that either. In fact, the movies I will be including are 10 total. If you look at your screen right now, I have them listed in alphabetical order. Without further ado, though, let's get started on my ranking of every Rod Serling movie I've seen. Assault on a Queen makes number 10, otherwise last place. This was very intentional because the movie is quite the slow burn. It's a heist movie, stars Frank Sinatra. I should love this movie, but the heist doesn't start until about an hour and a half in. You can recognize some of the Rod Serling script. There are some good one-liners here and there, but it doesn't make up for the otherwise boring and uninteresting cast and story. Number 9 goes to The Yellow Canary. This was a very obscure movie. I found it online and it was VHS quality, maybe even worse. It's a child abduction story. It's about a husband and a wife. They're already struggling in their marriage. Their baby is kidnapped or abducted, and the movie is basically them figuring out how they're going to get their baby back. Because of the really poor quality, it was a little hard to follow at times. In fact, I couldn't even tell if I was watching the main character of the movie or another character because they were both similar looking actors. And by the end of it, it didn't really feel like any of it was worth it. It just more so felt like a waste of time. Yeah, it was better than Assault on a Queen, but I don't know if I could even really say why. Okay, so from here on out in the list, these are all great movies. Coming in at number 8, we have Saddle the Wind. Don't doubt Rod Serling with the Western genre because he does a great job here. This is a great Western movie about the conflict between two brothers and the relationship they have. The younger brother, played by John Cassavetes, is kind of a screw-off. He's always lived in the shadow of his older brother, and that really is the meat of the story. Him just trying to make a name for himself. There are sad moments in the movie, and I think that the movie is really carried by John Cassavetes' performance. His character is quite dislikable, but the performance from Cassavetes, I think, really portrays a redeeming quality where you don't completely hate him. You want what's best for him, but you don't particularly like him either. At number 7, I have The Man. So this movie actually was made for TV, but it ended up being released in theaters only to be bombed by the critics for not taking enough risks. And when you watch it, you can definitely tell it was originally made for TV. Just the format of it, the style, the editing, it just feels like a TV movie. With that being said though, I still enjoy this quite a bit. James Earl Jones is our leading star, and the movie is about him as sort of an emergency decision being called to serve as the President of the United States. At this time, the first black man to serve as the president. And so as you would imagine, the movie tackles different messages, the most prominent one being racism, and you see both sides of the story. You see those that are accepting of him, but mostly the ones who are not accepting of him. And what you get all around, I think, is a great movie. I do think it's held back a little bit because by the end of it, it felt like it didn't go as far as it could have. It felt like it just started touching on the problem, but they didn't actually get deep enough to have like a full story, but I still enjoyed it, and seeing James Earl Jones is always a treat. At number 6, I have Patterns. This was one of his earliest movies. I think it actually might have been his first movie. And this movie is about working in a business led by a corrupt leader. It stars Van Heflin in the starring role. He's brand new to this company, and right away he sees that the dynamics aren't quite right. Just something feels off about it. Ed Begley, you probably know him most as juror number 10, I believe, from 12 Angry Men. He plays this long-time associate at the company, but he's sort of treated as the whipping boy. Any problem that happens, he's to blame for it. So you see the corruption and the horrors that come from working for a dishonest organization, especially one led by a power-hungry leader who doesn't care what bridges he has to burn. Rod Serling pens a great script. Yet again, you're going to hear me probably say that for every movie on this list. But overall, I just appreciated the powerfully told story on the everyday job. Number 5, I have The Rack. This was one of Paul Newman's earliest roles, and at the surface, I think that this is a very good courtroom drama. As you watch it though and get deeper into it, I think it's totally a movie about the relationship between a father and a son, and specifically a very rough relationship between the two. The movie is about a man being potentially guilty of betraying his country. The said man, as you would imagine, is Paul Newman. So he's going to court to plead his case, to defend himself and also prove whether or not he's guilty or innocent. And so yes, the courtroom part of it is great. I'm a sucker for courtroom dramas, but what really stuck out to me was the relationship, the focus that they had on Paul Newman's character and his father. Number 4 is Requiem for a Heavyweight. This is a movie that just floors me. It is so depressing and so bleak, and it's a great noir film that I think is a must-see for anyone who's interested in that subgenre. Stars Jackie Gleason, Mickey Rooney, Anthony Quinn, and it's basically about this has-been boxer who believes in himself that he can continue to fight and win. However, on the sidelines behind his back, Jackie Gleason's character is betting against him and making money off of his losses, and he's actively hoping that he loses. So not the best manager for him. And with that plot alone, you can see why it's more of a bleak, sad telling. It's definitely not a boxing movie like Rocky where you're going to leave inspired and pumped up. It's very depressing, and I think it's just very well made. I think the Rod Serling script definitely plays a hand in that. This was originally a TV episode, I want to say, on Playhouse 90, but it was later adapted into the movie, and that's the one I'm ranking today. Plus, you see Muhammad Ali fight. It's pretty cool that he just has an appearance in this movie, and a pretty large one for a moment too. And the story altogether is just powerful and devastating. Coming in at number 3, we have my cheater pick. It is Carol for Another Christmas. Again, this is a TV movie technically, or maybe it's part of a TV show. I don't really know, but it is my favorite adaptation of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, and so I have to include it because it feels legitimately like an 1.5 hour long Twilight Zone episode. You all know the story of A Christmas Carol. This movie has that same structure, however, it takes a more modern path in telling this story. The movie was made in the 60s, and it really takes advantage of that era. It speaks of World War II. It talks about the horrors of war. In fact, really, the entire movie is an anti-war movie. Our Ebenezer Scrooge character is played by Sterling Hayden, and he has a chance to see what life is like in a world where war has happened, and he has an opportunity to see what life will be like if he does not pursue his current plans of going to war with another country. It has a lot to say about war and the problem with war and the horrors that come from war, and seeing as how Rod Serling is a veteran and this script was penned by him, it's a home run to me. I think it is so well written, very powerful. It does not hold back on the subject matter. You visit Hiroshima after the bomb has dropped. You visit prisoners in camp. You have an opportunity to see what society is like because of war and because of this mentality of every man for himself. I'm the most important person. No one else matters. It is a masterpiece, and if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. As of filming this video, it is streaming on Max. However, fingers crossed that someday we can actually get a physical copy, even a digital copy. I would love this in my digital library too. Seek this out. It is a great movie. Number 2 goes to 7 Days in May. This is the most recent movie I watched, and I hope that recency bias isn't raising it up on the top of the list, but I have to rank it here simply because there wasn't anything I disliked about it. It has so many of the ingredients that make, to me, a perfect movie or a tailor-made movie for myself. It's a political thriller, which is one of the ingredients. It also has a stellar cast with standout performances from Edmond O'Brien and Frederic March, but let's be real, everyone is great here. And on top of that, yes, you knew it was coming, Rod Serling's script is incredible for this. There were at least 2 times where I clapped while I was watching the movie, and I was in my room alone, clapping, alone. But I have no regrets because it was just this power of movies transcending through the TV screen and hitting me and giving me this emotional reaction. I was that invested in the movie. There were some drop the mic lines, specifically one having to do with the Bible character Judas towards the end of the movie, and it struck me. It was just a golden line, probably one of the best lines I've heard in all the movies I've seen in 2024. I haven't even really gone over what the movie is about, and I don't think I'm going to either. Just know it's a political thriller, that there is opposition between the president and another side, and let it happen and enjoy it. It's a really great movie. But my favorite screenplay movie written by Rod Serling, however you want to phrase it, it's gotta be Planet of the Apes. This isn't a safe choice. This isn't a pick because it's the most popular movie on the list. This is none of those things. This is simply my number 1 because it is my favorite. It could have been the most obscure movie on the list and it would still be number 1. Planet of the Apes is such an interesting, fascinating story already, but with the liberties that Rod Serling took from the adaptation of the book to the screen, I think it really works well. When a story holds such a big twist that Planet of the Apes does, you have to nurture it and make sure that you do it justice when transitioning it from book to screen. And that's what I think is so successful on Serling's part. Also, I'm speaking like I'm some sort of expert at adapting books to movies. This is just my own opinion. Planet of the Apes has a lot of messages and symbolism within it. It's also the start, the birth of a giant movie series that is still popular today and still going strong today. I love the original Planet of the Apes specifically because it feels like an extended Twilight Zone episode. Sound familiar? Yes, this could have easily been in the Twilight Zone as some sort of episode in color, extended special. I don't know, but it works. Like when I watch it, especially the opening, when they first land on the planet, the pilots are getting their bearings and trying to familiarize themselves with this territory. That uncertainty and the mystery is so Twilight Zone-esque. And then furthermore, they start being hunted by apes and they see that humans can't speak and that they're the dumb ones, and all of this leading to the pivotal ending that, I mean, I'm not going to spoil it here, but if you've gone this far in life without hearing that spoiler, then props. Like, I commend you. It's just such a great film, an all-time classic in movie history, but also just one of my favorite movies in general. Comment below what your favorite movie written by Rod Serling is. I'd love to hear. And if there are any obscure TV movies or TV episodes that he wrote that you think I should check out, please also leave those in the comments as well. Once again, a very happy 100th birthday to the legend himself, Rod Serling. Thank you all for visiting Maple Street. Have a great day.